Hey, I know I haven't been live for a little while. I've been doing some pondering and I've been creating a bit of content. Excuse the dodgy angle and that big show of light, but I'm in the car and trying to wiggle this around so that I don't look like Casper the Ghost. Anyway, I'm just get rid of a message. I had a conversation with a fellow coach this morning and it's prompted such a passionate response in me that I really feel like I want to have a conversation about this. Hey, Lelia. And the conversation is this. Building a coaching business, a thriving coaching business, is hard. And it's harder than it's ever been before for a number of reasons. And the first reason is there was so much crap on the internet, especially in 2016 and towards the end of 2016, 2017, and a lot of coaches that I know were getting ready to quit coaching. And I was one of them because let me just go back a little bit. I've been coaching as a coach, a life and business coach, since 1999, 2000. But I've been coaching for probably another 10 years before that in coaching martial artists, coaching athletes, coaching students, and coaching's in my blood. I'm one of those people that from when I was a really small kid, I was the one that would be trying to help people feel better and get the best out of themselves. And I always wanted to teach kids. I used to run in my backyard. We used to have this shed thing, and I used to go and borrow teaching kits from the library that the teachers would normally borrow, but the librarians let me take them. And I would then go back and, teach classes and things like that. So I've always been a natural teacher, a natural leader, a natural coach. And I have loved coaching my whole life. I've loved coaching people. There is nothing hey Jody, there's nothing that brings me more joy than seeing somebody fulfill their potential. And that's what coaching is. It's not about telling people what to do and how to do it. It's about helping people to really work out how to reveal the best parts of themselves. Thanks for the love. And what I do in my work is I work with and talk to a lot of coaches every week. And, it's a roller coaster. It really is. And it's not even the business of building a coaching practice, although we have to work so much harder these days at convincing people that we have value, because coaching really got a bad name. There were people who were, did a 2-minute coaching program and called themselves a coach. The good coaches and the coaches I know and the coaches that I hang out with are coaches who have it in their blood, like me. We've been coaching for years before we ever officially coached. So if that's you, send me some love. I'm sure I know, Jody, you are one of those coaches for sure. And what's also difficult about growing, just forget about the nuts and bolts of trying to build any business, but trying to build a coaching business that has got you lumped in with, the bad eggs, basically. And we have to work doubly hard to convince people that we're not full of shit, that we're not ripping them off and all that stuff, right? So all that aside, then there comes the pressure of dealing with clients. And sometimes we can do our very best. We can be giving the best support that we know how to give, and people can still be miserable fuckers, excuse my French. And when you have a client that isn't happy and then they go and tell the world that they're not happy, coaches really, there are not too many coaches I know who enter the world and the coaching world and go, I'm just going to go and rip people off, and I'm just going to be shit at my job, and I'm just going to be, I don't know, whatever. Coaches are people with very good intentions, and they have their clients' best interests at heart. Now, a lot of the time, coaching clients don't speak up. You might have an issue 6 months down the track and they're like, well, this didn't happen, and you didn't do this, and you didn't tell me this. And you're like, well, we never had a conversation about that. So how am I supposed to know how to help you if you don't share what the problems are? Anyway, I could go on and on and on. So the challenges of growing any coaching business, there are a lot. There's the highs and lows. There's the, crisis of confidence at different times. And then there's the, people that maybe you started your coaching practice when you did your coaching training, and you've all gone through together, and some people might be out there making 6, 7, 8 figures, and you're still there struggling to, make $1,000 a month in your coaching business. And coaching is a very personal business. We take it very personally. We take our clients, we're working with our clients' deepest desires and some of their biggest secrets sometimes. It's really an honor to coach people through stuff so that they get to be the best versions of themselves and to, expand their thinking. And so anyway, I'm getting to a point. My point is I'm going to open up a coaching group, a free Facebook group. Now, I thought I was done with Facebook groups. I really, really was, but I was having a conversation with a girlfriend this morning, and I was having a rant about this stuff, and that people convince other people that it's so easy just to start a coaching business and make 6 figures. And I said, it's harder, it's getting harder. And hey, Lisa. And so I was having a rant, and she said, how you don't, I know I shouldn't even bring this up, but how you said you were never going to do another Facebook group, like a free one? She said, I think this is your group. And I'm like, it is. These are my people, and I want to be having these conversations. These are the conversations that I want to be having. As I said, I've been coaching 30 years, and not 30, 20, 25 years, 26 years, something like that. And I've done it all. I've had $25,000 12-month-long programs. I've had $97 5-day programs. I've had group coaching. I've had individual coaching. I've had all different types of coaching. I've been in this game a long time, and I know how to build a coaching practice. I know how to coach well, but I also know the shit that coaches go through intimately. And not just my own, but coaches that I speak with every single week. And these are the conversations that we need to be having, because what happens is coaches go in with the full intention to, create a thriving practice and to help people, which is why we get into coaching in the first place. And then they discover that they've got to be content marketers, or they've got to be digital marketers, or they've got to be, marketing experts and everything else. And then, of course, they let people, especially in those early days, trample all over any boundaries that they've set, and then they struggle to get them back. They have crisis of confidence. There's so many challenges to being a good coach and staying in love with coaching while you build a business and work your way through clients that aren't always happy. And so that's what the Facebook group's going to be about. I want to be having these conversations every single day. Hey, Rach. Rachel is actually the brains behind the new idea, so she'll be sending me love. So yeah, I just feel like it's time to have those conversations. I really do. They're going on behind the scenes. I have a lot of coaching friends, and there's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes, and people don't always talk about it, but we need to talk about it. So it's kind of like, the big reveal about what it really takes to grow a coaching business. And it's not you're going to, spend 20 grand on a coaching program, and then 5 minutes later, you're going to have a booked out coaching practice. It just doesn't work that way. It takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of effort. And the things that you don't foresee kicking you in the ass are things like clients who are unhappy, or that piece around where you let people overstep boundaries in the beginning, and maybe because you're in your eagerness to make people happy, so you tend to over deliver a little bit. And then what happens is those coaching clients forget that you're over delivering and forget that you're going above and beyond, and then they start to expect it. And when you do what's normal, what you promised in the first place, they're like, well, where's the other stuff? And nobody really appreciates it. Yeah, Jody, I think sometimes there are toxic clients for sure, but other times it's just we're not smart enough to know that we have to set boundaries, because, let's be honest, if you're a coach, you're a person who is a giving, sharing person, and it's actually harder for us to maintain our own boundaries than it is not to. And, I've got all the stories about that. I can remember a client maybe 5 years ago, and she was, a high-end client paying a lot of money. But, I would find myself on Facebook at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock at night, and she'd be sending things through in Messenger. Oh, I thought about this photo. What do you think about this one? I'm like, oh no, hang on. And then I'd find myself 2 hours later still hunting for images online to help her so that she could get something finished. And it's like, this is not the life I want to live. And I wanted to do it. I felt okay in the moment. But, 3 weeks later when I said, hey, I'm not working, she's like, well, you did it last time. And I'm like, you're right, I did. And I set that precedent. And now I'm going to have a hard time saying, yeah, but that was a one-off, because you feel like a dick, right? So I've got a lot of experience and I really want to share it. And I think that the main thing too is that when you go through issues with clients or other coaches or whatever it is, it feels really isolating because we feel like we're the only ones in this space. We feel like we're the only ones. And so it is isolating and it can feel shameful sometimes. And I want to just rip the Band-Aid off all of that shit because it's not necessary, and let's be real and let's be honest about what it takes. I've been in this industry for a very, very, very long time, and I'm really excited to see that a lot of those coaches like me last year, where we're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And everybody took a big pivot and nobody wanted to play anymore and all that sort of stuff. They're starting to come back, and true coaches always will, because it's in our blood. It's what we do. It's what we're passionate about. And the people that we impact and the impact that we're able to have is what keeps us going. It's not about making money. We all deserve to make money, and we all deserve to live, an abundant life, and that will come when you do what you love. But too many coaches get bogged down in the heaviness of it, and then they lose the joy of coaching. And that's a real tragedy, because good coaches are really hard to find, and lifelong good coaches are really hard to find. I'm just going to see if I can do that. Lisa just said, Michelle, do you find that people are getting into coaching because they think it's easy or lucrative? Absolutely, I do. And this is no offense whatsoever. Gina DeVee is a great coach. She's a great coach, actually. She was a psychologist in her former life, and she knows people. She really does. And she has the Divine Living Academy, and she's not the only one. There's a whole bunch about her. Yes, Rach, stressing about where the next client's coming from. Absolutely. But just getting back to Gina, she's created an amazing life for herself, an amazing brand, and she really heavily markets the, create a six-figure business, and you'll be able to travel the world, and you'll be able to charge $5,000 for VIP days and all the rest of it. And she's living the dream. Like, she's traveling everywhere. And I don't know, I guess for every 100 people that go through her academy, there might be 2 or 3 that are super successful. And then there might be, I don't know, maybe 20, 30, maybe even 40, right? That do okay. But what about the other 60, who have been led to believe that, and I'm not saying she's deliberately doing that, because I honestly believe that if you set the inspiration for somebody and they set the intention, they will get there. And those people that have been super successful, having done her program or anybody's program, they just stayed there the longest. They just figured stuff out more than anybody else, and they just were more committed than anybody else, because anyone can make it. But I do believe that they see the ads, they see everything that comes up, and they're like, oh yeah, I want to be able to travel the world and work with my laptop and, make 6 figures coaching clients. That sounds easy. And it can be, for sure, but, and I'm not a negative person. I'm not one to go and say, don't expect to make $1 million overnight, because that can happen for sure. But I guess I just want you to be going with eyes wide open. And if you're in that space of struggle right now, then now is the time to recognize that, and we know this anyway, there's a lot of what you see that is the highlight reel, and there's a whole lot of shit going down underneath. And like Rachel said, and that is a big stress, where is the next client coming from? And for me, that's why I loved creating my long-term programs where I had recurring income coming in month after month after month, and why I always have some sort of membership-based program or group program or long-term intermittent client work. I don't work with anybody for any length of time intensely, because nobody really needs that. You need to go and sort shit out yourself. But for me, having recurring avenue streams, multiple income streams, that has been what's meant that I'm still here. When, Rach, how many people do you reckon were on our coaching training? Rachel was actually one of the trainers when I did my coaching training. Rachel would know more than I would how many of the coaches are still around. And Jodie Brown's on the call, and she was one of my Taekwondo instructors. And I know when I first started training in Taekwondo, there were probably 40 of us. And I think I am the only one, and I say still training, I'm not at the moment, but my intention is to be training. But even, as of last year, I was the only one still training out of all of those people, because we stay the course. And one of the reasons that I am still here is because of that. It's always thinking about how to keep it fresh, but also how can I keep multiple income streams coming in? Because I never want to be in that place, and you shouldn't either, of feeling desperate about needing clients, because there is never a more surefire way to repel clients than when you're in that place of desperation. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit. But yeah, my question to Rach was, how many does she think is still coaching? And I would say probably a small handful. And it is because it's difficult to grow a coaching business. It really is. And it can be done. And I want to help people get there faster by avoiding a lot of the pitfalls that I made. Thanks, Jodie. And I want to get there, and I want to help people get through the stuff that is difficult. The things like, a client who said, well, I paid you all this money and I didn't get a result and it's your fault. It's like, that nothing feels worse than that, especially when we know we've done our best. Although when you know you've done your best, and you think, well, if my best isn't good enough, well, how shit am I? So we all go through that stuff. And so I want to have those conversations inside of this group, because everybody goes through it. If they tell you they don't, they're full of crap. Every coach I know goes through this stuff. Coaches are not perfect human beings who have got it all figured out. They just know how to keep figuring it out. Oh my God, they actually say that. Well, not in so many words, Lisa, but that's the inference. Yeah, and it happens to people it happens to coaches all the time. Clients that don't take ownership or don't take responsibility of their own results, they feel like if they pay you money that you're going to get the result for them. And so, yeah. Layla is saying, Lisa, yes, they do. See? Hands up, hands up. All right, I'm going to go because I want to get back home. I've just been to Pilates and it was hard work, I've got to say. And the only reason I went, because I just started forming the Facebook group and then I had to duck out to go to Pilates. It's like, I don't want to go. I just want to do this thing. And so, I'm going to go home now. I'm going to set up the Facebook group and I will invite you in. If you want me to just add you, please just put a message in the comments, just say yes, and I'll just add you. Otherwise, I'm not going to add people who haven't said to add them. But look out for the Facebook group. I feel like it's going to be juicy as hell. I really feel like it's going to be really juicy, and I think it's really going to help coaches. Awesome, Lisa. I will add you straight away. Thanks, Jodie. I will. And I'm excited. One of the things I was saying to Rach, okay, Lelia, one of the things I was saying to Rachel is I want to hang out with my people every day and have amazing conversations, but it's not happening at the moment. Like, I know I promised I'd go live on my Facebook page every day, my business page, but it's like a freaking, I don't know, there's spin effects rolling down the freaking news feed. Like, it doesn't matter what I do, the engagement's not there. And I said I wouldn't have another free group, but it's like, these are the conversations that I really want to have, and I really want to be supportive of those people. I have got the battle scars from years of being a coach and building a coaching business. And, you know, I know how to help you guys avoid doing it harder than you need to. It is already tough enough. You don't need to do it any harder. And as I said, this is not me being doom and gloom and it's hard and you'll never, you know, it'll never happen. That's not what I'm saying at all. But let's just be real about it so that we don't feel like, you know, we're the only one struggling. And you know what I liken it to, actually? There's a group page that I belong to, Mummy Central, I think it is. Like, my kids are not with me anymore, but it's freaking hilarious. It's all the mummy stuff, you know, mums relating over the shit their kids do and whine. And it's like, oh yeah, and it's a safe place for mums to hang out and not be judged when they think their kids are assholes sometimes. And it's like, yeah, that's the vibe that I want this group to have. I want everybody to come together. I want us to laugh. I want us to get real, and I want us to just own it when we're, you know, when we screw up, or when we need support, or when we're like, I'm really struggling, you know, I think I'm done with the coaching thing. I had this client and this is what happened. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk you off the ledge and just keep you moving forward and keep you in love with your coaching business and keep you in love with coaching, because the world needs coaches. It really, really does. It needs good coaches. And yeah, I want to support that community. Anyway, that is me. I'm done. I'm going to go set that group up, and yeah, I'll add you if you've said add me. Otherwise, look out for it and get yourself in there. Okay, guys, thanks for being on. Bye.